Hey there, this is Red Falcon. This is a new season of the Wargame Red Dragon Micro Deck Tournament Series. We're playing in the summer of 2022, and I'm graced to have Trout as my co-host again. We'll be covering this tournament for the season, and we've got a much larger turnout this time. Any words about this season's tournament, Trout?
I'm excited. I like to see the competitive war game. I've really got into it and started to enjoy it a lot myself. And it's fun to see people get into it and really try new strategies, try new things, pull new units, and see what they can do together. It is pretty relaxed. It's not really high stakes, but it is good fun. So I'm super stoked and I'm super excited to watch the matches.
For sure. And a little word about this particular tournament. Since it's summertime, we want everybody to enjoy the summer beach, and for that purpose, the marine maps for this tournament have been drastically increased for the percentage over the last tournament. So there should be a significant increase for that. All right. Well then, with all that said, are we ready to begin the review then, Trout?
I just want to look over the initial layout.
Sure, sure.
Um, I took a quick look over it and it's interesting to see kind of the split between Hellborn infantry. One of the things I noticed right off the bat here is that we actually have a blue four deck, which is fairly rare. Play a lot of red four decks, and so that's going to be interesting.
Oh, for sure. Not that there's anything wrong with like playing as like blue four. They've got formidable units and all, but typically on our server we typically don't have a whole lot of blue four, so it's definitely interesting to see it being pulled for the first time in a tournament series now.
I'm really excited to watch some of the things very carefully, like the anti-air. Blue four has some really solid units with a bit farther reach out range than red four does for the most part, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that affects this match.
Yeah. Looks like we got Death of Wisconsin and Jade over here pulling a lot of tanks together, so we'll see how that goes. I know that like Kilo and Lima are pretty solid like tank ground fighting, as well as around that river but next to Julia, especially that plateau. And if you see the flares, it looks like the initial advance is supposed to be Jade's gonna try to fly some Patabranchies, probably. Yeah, I think he's gonna try to fly some Patabranchies over by Juliet, that corner over there on the east side the map because like a little thing to remember is that Wargame has a mini map in the corner, and the white arrow always points to true north. This is a little tip. But yeah, so we got looks like Jade wants to pull some Power Branch 90 over there, and Death of Wisconsin wants to go and try to hold the plateau to prevent any of those intersections from being able to bleed into Juliet or Kilo from that route. So that should be an interesting play for sure.
It's very aggressive off the get-go. The initial plan is essentially to grab Kilo, and so it's to get that solid area where you have the defense and you're going to get the point lead that way. Um, and it's focusing on not worrying about the mountain fight as much, but trying to keep it as an actual armored fight by the looks of it, which should be interesting. I'm interested to see how it goes.
For sure, for sure.
Whenever you're ready to go, just give me a countdown and I will be ready to go.
All right. Counting down. Five, four, three, two, one, go. And this match went on for the full hour to the end. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. That means it's a long match. That means all the units get pulled, everything gets exhausted, a lot of unit stocks get worn down, and you end up having to use stuff to do kind of weird stuff with it.
For sure.
So it's going to be a really interesting, really fun thing to watch here.
For sure. So it looks like we have some South Korean helicopters, I believe. Yep, there it is, the marking on these UH-60Ps. And we got some guy pulling an L-18. It's a formidable MiG-29 variant. For sure, for sure.
I'm sort of some guy, Jade, and
Oh,
Death of Wisconsin.
oh,
I really enjoyed that they're pulling three Yugo decks. That's it's going to be kind of a fun to
it's
watch.
very thematic. Also, looks like we have these we have a Lafayette that is spawned in and a block KF-16 Block 52. Looks like it's being used for combat air patrol. Those AMRAMs are nothing to be messed with, and it's got solid ECM. And if they're playing strict South Korea, I think they get about 3 of them per card.
One thing I really do like with a lot of the Blue Force, the Blue 4 units, the air units especially, is a lot of them have very good multi-role, and a lot of them have very good multi-role anti-fighter.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So looks like the helicopters were over here by uh, Kilo, and looks like the Mi-25s took care of them. Also, we got some guys pushing in what looks to be recon infantry in the back behind Echo.
I'm a little bit surprised they got through there because they do have combat air patrol there.
Hmm.
I'll have to check. I'm wondering what the spot on those KF-16C Block 52Ds is
I
because they've got a seat.
I believe they're spot. I believe they spotted them. It's just that they don't have what do you call it? They don't have infrared missiles. That is the crux of the Block 52. Wonderful aircraft. Doesn't have much to do with helicopters. But Autumn's coming in with the Harrier GR7, one of the premier aircraft of the Falklands War. But some guy is coming in with the L19, going after Autumn's GR7, which is Autumn missiles. Oh, that poor GR7. But maybe it looks like some guy is not getting too lucky on his runs. But will he get it on the second go? Bam! And it is down.
One thing I'm very interested to see is the initial pull didn't have a lot of anti-air. So we have one Stormer HVM in the middle of the map on the Blue 4 side, but that's kind of it. There's an event coming up, but the initial deployment didn't have a whole bunch of anti-air.
For sure.
And that allows for a lot of mobility and a lot of movement early in the map.
So it looks like we got some recoilless rifles engaging a Kilo against a platoon of K1s. And the Mi-25s there to provide that fire support. Direct fire support, for sure. Looks like they lost the K1. Meanwhile, Autumn's engaging with Challenger 1 Mark IIIs against M84As. That looks like it's going to be a tough fight, both sides. But one M84A is down. But we also got a Challenger 1 with an optical failure. But the green jacket is getting in on the hits of the side, and an M84A just had internal ammo explosion. It is out of the fight. And it is done for. Stormer HVM just got a side shot at M4A4A. Yeah, seizing this plateau early off from Death Wisconsin side of the map is a little aggressive, but it is for sure, I would say, deterring them from trying to get on top of the plateau. For the most part. Besides the Challenger that has an optical failure.
But the challenges with the Stormers is they're a very good unit, but they don't hit as hard against armor.
Yeah, it's only about 12.
Really saw that
Yeah,
against the M84As.
yeah, the Stormer is only packing about 12 AP power when it comes to hitting that. The lacking of capture of hotel early off is a little interesting to me, but that could also be said the same of Lima. But I guess the big focus is just going for the fight. But it looks like Jade is pulling in a command to go into hotel. Meanwhile, we've got Alpha being countercapped by 2 commands, Bubbles Lafayette, and a command by some guy.
It's kind of interesting. After that initial engagement, it's really time to pull forward more units and get things kind of reinforced. And that's what I see happening is M84As coming forward, trying to get set for another attack. And I think the Red 14 will probably be, yeah, they'll rebuild that line and see what they do from there.
So, by my count, I believe that there was 2 South Korean players and a British armor player coming in from the Blue Force side. That means that they can both with 2 members, if they're both deploying the KF-16C card, they both got 6 of these ASFs that they can put up in the air. Which one of them armed with seed missiles. That is intimidating for our airborne player, some guy over here.
So I've just switched over to see the Blue 14, what they can see, and they can't actually see the landed infantry and helicopter behind their spawn right now.
Yep.
They managed to get them down to clearing, they're hidden, and they have no line of sight on any of those units and where they've gone.
Oh, and the L18 from some guy just got downed between the anti-air that Spaghetti had and and the KF-16C that he brought. It definitely just took him out. That's gotta be painful. Sorry to interrupt you there. It's just been focusing on watching the air war a little bit.
We're definitely starting to rebuild the lines. I see a bit of recon coming up, lots of tanks coming up. So it's trying to get those lines reinforced and actually get eyes out so you can see what's going
Yeah, and I
on.
see almost pulling in some warrior Milans. I'm not a big fan of the warrior Milans. I'm gonna be straight with you, Trout. Not a big fan of them. Uh, Big part and reason is that their autocannon is garbage. I just don't like it. But that's just my personal opinion. But hey, some autocannon is better than no autocannon. Maybe that's the philosophy to take away from it.
It does have the Milan, which is, I
Oh yeah.
mean, pretty decent. I think it's 2,450 meters and it hits for about 17 AP, I think. So it's,
Ooh, and
it's something.
yeah, and we just got saw another L-18B taken out from the air by two Block 1552Es with not. I don't think a single missile was taken from either one of them. Jade over here with the Neva Mit play. Uh, I'm surprised there's no supply truck for it. That is interesting choice to me, but I guess it allows them to just kind of stay mobile in that way.
Yeah, I think having a supply truck with those kind of anti-air, where you have a limited missile supply, is you don't get caught without missiles then, which is always a very uncomfortable feeling when all of a sudden, you just, I have an anti-air net and it's gone.
Yeah. And
So,
the Super Goleb tried to come in and take a hit on the Challenger 1, but the missile just whizzed over it while the Block 52 took it out. That, ooh, man. Some guy is having a rough time with the air superiority in this fight. But maybe it wasn't some guy who pulled that Super Goleb. I didn't see any combat air patrol with it. Alright, so we got Bubble pulling out all three of their Lafayettes, and that is their last capital ship that they'll be able to pull for this fight.
that's a lot of points to pull early in the match. And
It's 200 points per
yeah,
ship, so it is solid 60% ECM. Medium Sea Whiz, 150 health, exceptional sea optics, and medium stealth.
this seems to be a very good move on Delta here. So I would say take a look at Delta and check out what's happening there.
Alright, let me take a look over at Delta here. I see Juliet, I see Lima, I see Kilo, I see Hotel, I see Foxtrot. Oh, yep, yep. Oh, yep. Oh, we got the command, we got the recon infantry in the back. Ooh, yep, yep. So,
A lot of patience, a lot of time, but that was a very carefully executed move forward and search the area. Yeah, very nicely done.
yep, those helicopters were able to fly in the back over here, unload their infantry, and pull all the way down into here. Oh, we got a K9 Thunder coming in the spawn area.
And there we go. With this map particularly, it's nice they have the secondary land corridor and they have the sea corridor. So they're not
And the K9 Thunder
really.
is getting. Sorry to interrupt you, but the K9 Thunder is getting hit pretty hard by the Senki. Oof, and there it goes. Senki just got a 130 point kill. I might be a little bit misquoted on that, but it's in the ballpark, I believe. And the command was taken up by the Specialny Janaki. That lack of bleed now is no longer happening. The point contention is not happening anymore, and it looks like Blue Four is gonna be pushed to mount an assault, or to at least recap Delta. That should be interesting. Spaghetti looks like he is taking the long road to get to Delta. By road, I should say the long trail, the long Oregon Trail to Delta through the woods.
I'm interested to see what happens on Kilo. Right now, Spaghetti and Autumn have a nice little task force built. Just like see if they drop smoke or what their plan is to attack Kilo. They definitely have assets that are getting pretty close to being functional to do that.
For sure. Looks like they're just mounting up their forces. Also, it looks like we have a flare out by Alpha, so it looks like Jade has been made aware that there is something over here. Maybe they might have indicated that there is ships. There certainly is recon over here to help indicate it, but whether or not that he can see it is something I can check real quickly. Nope.
Right now, they cannot.
Yep, they are absolutely blind. They can't see that ship and they can't see that helicopter. Good optics can only get you so far. Actually, no, it's very good optics. Wow. Yep. If you aren't literally like right in missile range of those Lafayettes, you are not going to see it.
The assault's actually starting on Kilo, so they've lined that up, and it looks like they're doing a straight drive push, no support. A little bit dangerous, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, here we go. Oh, okay, that is a little dangerous. And I just seen a side shot trying to identify the vehicle that's got hit. Oh, it exploded. K1. K1 got hit in the sides. Like the Pakotas are having a really rough time. Another side shot into the K1 from the M84A.
I have to say, for a quick attack and dismount, that was really solidly executed.
Yep.
They killed both the M84s and they took the town. I got the assets in there. That was a nice attack.
Yeah. Death of Wisconsin is having a little rough time, and some guy, it looks like he's out of optics. So all of their support can no longer operate without anything to spot it. Quick save there. If they didn't take out those Lake Pakotas and the M84s, they would have been absolutely blind. Or they would have been absolutely taking a lot of punishment, I should say. So it looks like Death Wisconsin is putting up defense markers. I assume that might be to indicate that they need some sort of defensive or artillery markers, which would kind of indicate something. But looks like they're just gonna keep pushing on towards Lima at this point. Mi-35 from some guy is coming in to provide some overwatch on this road. It looks like.
I will mention something very interesting happened. I think it was a bit of a mistake. Well, it is a choice, and so they lost the command in Delta, and they actually pulled the command from Echo and Bravo, the Blue 4 team, in to try to get Delta again.
Yep.
Which is, yes, it's an air corridor. It's a very important, and they got it, but it's they lost all three corridors for probably a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh my. Yeah, they've called in 2 commands to go to Delta. It looks like.
This is interesting on Spaghetti's part. I really like this. Having no fear of kind of pushing forward a bit and just seeing what's up there. Definitely pushing forward with those K1s and the transports, and trying to take advantage of a push.
Oh yeah. All right, so it looks like we have a lot of airplanes up in the air. Counting 2 L-17Ks, 2 L-19s, and an L-18. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of an air fight going on. FKF-16Cs are confirming, and they're going in for the fight. Oh, let's see. All right, so we did lose an aircraft. It looks like. I'm assuming it's one of the L-19. No, it must have been one of the L-18s. And we got more Block 52s coming in. Another L-17 down. They confirmed the other aircraft that was downed over here. Oh, I guess the smart part kind of disappeared it. That's okay.
There's something to point out with having an air net up is, I mean, if you are over friendly territory, it's not safe unless you've got an anti-air net up. So
Oh, yeah. So,
that was definitely a thing where they flexed out, and if there would have been something there to punish them, Red 4 would have taken a lot of punishment from having a couple, even man pads up in the area.
all right, so I gotta turn your attention towards Foxtrot over here. Looks like Bubble Bathurst just took out the recon helicopter and is pushing the Lafayette into Foxtrot. Jade gets the idea that they need to cap Foxtrot finally, but it might be too late. You can't call in anti-ship aircraft unless you have a sea corridor, and looks like they're finally gonna cap it. And there it is. What? There it is. All right, and now there is a sea corridor in Foxtrot. So unless they can dislodge that Lafayette, they are going to indeed have a hard time dealing with it because they do not have anti-ship weapons deployed. And they cannot deploy anti-ship weapons until they claim Foxtrot.
little bit of action on Charlie. So Jade pulled up a bunch of proletariat and is just kind of pushing in to see if they can get into Charlie and actually secure that.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a seed sweep that just came over Juliet and punished all the radars that was over there. All right, so we got Jade kind of pushing around some proletarian and Lakota Pacotas. This is our most infamous shit fight mountain. It is indeed. Autumn calling in for close air support on the infantry. Yep, looks like Autumn's calling in to GR7 with the laser guided paveways.
That is a nasty response. That, depending where it hits, will do a lot of damage.
Yep. It was a wide dispersion, but it definitely did some damage.
I do want to mention over on Kilo, Spaghetti did a bit of an early flex out towards Lima and actually just took out the command, which is excellent. However, it was sort of a thing where the armor pushed forward unsupported without another like a line to support the sideward coming in from the side, and so they got cut off and kind of destroyed there. And so now we're back to a defensive situation on Kilo.
Yep. Oh, and it just got. I just watched a K1 get killed by a Vidra with the autocannon, not the missile. That hurts.
Use what you have at hand.
Oh yeah. Bubble Bathist trying to provide some line of sight where the infantry might be over here. And pushing the Habyungs up to try to engage these infantry. Looks like Jade's gonna try to pull back at this point. No longer feeling that confidence to commit to the assault here, which is, I would say, even in present sight of reviewing this match, or hindsight, however you want to put it, is the right decision. I just don't think he has enough infantry to deal with all these Marines over here. At least for an infantry on infantry fight.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous place, knowing that there's Marines in the forest there to push in any sort of armor because it's a narrow path through a forest, and once the infantry get in there, you're going to be taking side shots galore. So.
Oh, yeah. So it looks like some guy is having his special force recon get engaged. Yep, and that was way too aggressive, unfortunately, for those, and they paid the price. Alright, so it looks like a naval invasion kind of happening over here. We've got SEALs and Marines coming into Foxtrot, but I'm not really seeing the presence of anti-air. Bubble Bath is going to try pushing up to Lafayette, maybe try to do something with those helicopters, but without like a British SAS or anything like that, it's going to be a rough patch for these Marines. And Bubble is just kind of over here throwing at LCM 8s, their transport ships, over behind Hotel just to cause some havoc. And here I feel like maybe the Marine push is a little misplaced. I would say it might have been better off to send those Marines to go flank into Hotel. It would have forced a lot of diversion, and they would have been able to mass their forces.
I would draw your attention to Kilo Juliet.
Sure.
Right now we have an attempted reinforcement of Kilo by Spaghetti, and very good use of assets by Death of Wisconsin to kind of counter that. A few of the tanks have died, but definitely slowed down the ability to reinforce effectively into Kilo.
Looks like there was an M84 that was causing them havoc over here in Kilo for a minute. Looks like they claimed it finally. But I do like that calling out of individual tanks killed, especially when they're single out like this. Will the Shaker Memorial on hit this M84A? It does, and it gets the kill with 1 HP left on it. That is outstanding. You know, I talk crap on Milan, but you know, at least it's got an ATGM and enough armor.
It's an ATGM.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not the best out there, but it's not the worst out there, and
And if it does enough damage, you know, as I say, that's enough damage.
that's better than no damage.
Oh yeah, any damage is good damage.
So over on the invasion on Foxtrot, they actually are bringing in manpats now. We're realizing that they're dealing with the helicopters. I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, I believe that they might be pulling the Mistrals. That's the popular manpads for South Korea's. So we got the K9 Thunder back here. Looks like it's kind of taking some pot shots at what it might suspect are locations for helicopters, but I am not seeing any confirmation of those locations.
Interesting, at this point in the match, just looking over the lines, Blue 4 has a very strong position. Over on Kilo, they're bringing in reinforcement tanks, they've got infantry, they've got anti-air up, they've got some recon. Um, you know, they're nicely set up in Charlie. They don't quite balance out Hotel, but they've got a good defensive line. They've reinforced Juliet, and they've got the invasion. They're in a very strong position. Um, and it'll be interesting to see what they do from here.
Yeah, despite all of this, though, it's only a +1 for Jade's team. Jade, that's Wisconsin, some guy. For all these efforts, it's not much of a lead yet. So there's still a lot of things that can still happen.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what the response is and kind of seeing how this goes.
Yeah. So we got. Looks like he's pulling a command for Kilo here. He's gonna stop the bleed and bleed Red 4. So we got the V-Hor on top of the mountain now, or the plateau, in that center field between Juliet and Kilo. It's having a tough time with its Fusiliers, so. And it looks like the V-Hor just gets the kill narrowly. But even though it has 1 HP, it looks like the decision is still being made to push it. Well, that might be a conscious one is something to question, but we shall see indeed. And Jay's just having a good time with those padded branchies. Unfortunately, I think the Proletary are having a rough one. Looks like we're getting some counter battery on Autumn's artillery as well.
Really smart choice on Gulf. The Red 4 team has actually pulled a second command. The thing I'm a little bit surprised by is they've left them both on the forest side, so where infantry can get up to them. But they've definitely got that double command in there just to make sure they don't get sniped, which is a very good decision on their primary air and land corridor.
Alright, so it looks like the Sneska and the Warren Malons are having a bit of a fight on top of the plateau. The Sneska didn't stand much of a chance there. Yeah, well, the Warren Malone coming at 6 frontal armor. I wonder why the Sneska could not win. Alright, so it looks like we got Lafayette moving into the bay over by Gulf now.
It's a pretty aggressive move. We'll see how it goes, but that could be a very, very dangerous move for one team or the other.
And I'm seeing a pretty important play here by Death of Wisconsin and Jade is that they have 2 commands in Gulf, which I think given that they're aware that there is a Marine presence now, that is probably not the worst idea. But we shall see how they're able to capitalize on it. Alright, and Lafayette is closing in. Looks like they're firing the Mi-25. What? No, they're firing on the Mi-25s. Oh, so there is a air engagement with these Mi-25s against the Lafayettes. So far, none of the Lafayette hasn't taken any of the missiles, but there looks like their missiles are being drawn, or at least some of the rockets being drawn over to the LCMs. Lafayette is taking some hits, but still not enough considering these are like 16 AP missiles. And those ships are just gonna have a heyday.
That's a really solid investment there. They've definitely pushed forward Blue 4 into Foxtrot. They've set up a line. They've set up lots of infantry in the area. It'll be very hard to dislodge that now, and I'm happy about that. I think it's very interesting, and you don't often see sort of a an invasion that they kind of isn't beaten back or pushed through, or they've really set up a defensive line and they're just holding that point with pressure.
For sure. So it looks like the Igmans are going to try to come in and deal some damage on these ships if they're feeling confident, but looks like the artillery is just going to begin harassing them, which is probably one of the better plays to pick. Jade's got 4 Danas, and they are going to start whaling it on the ship. It won't be a lot of damage, but as we said, any damage is good damage. So here, I believe in that particular moment, Bubble was having connection issues, and they had disconnected for future reference. But I believe at about this time anyway, some guy was having trouble with calling any more units in two. So
That's very interesting. I if I had to call this match right now and say how this would end, I would definitely say the Blue 4 team would actually win. Looking at the map layout, looking at what's in the way on Juliet and Hotel. So having lost Bubble Baths at that point, kind of forcing that extra micro, I wonder what effect that kind of had on that Blue 4 team.
I believe Spaghetti inherited Bubble Bath's units. We got some light skirmishing going over on Juliet at the moment, it looks like.
Really good choice here. I really like this. On Lima and Juliet, Death of Wisconsin knows, yeah, this isn't a great position. Starting to pull back some strategic assets to make sure that they don't get killed and maybe can be used in the future. So it's part of that bit of a strategic retreat, bit of a strategic pullback, and then you pull new assets to build up and prepare to, a defensive line, really. And I like seeing that rather than stuff just getting left out to get picked off when it's not really replaceable, especially not micro.
No, definitely not in micro. There is a lot to say about even pulling infantry back in a helicopter and sending it back to the fob for medevac. Especially when you're
I'm
talking
very
like special forces infantry and such. Sorry, but
I'm interested to see if this command snipe on Juliet happens. It looks like it's about to happen right now. This is a lot of pressure, that's for sure.
some guy sending whatever assets he looks like he has left. And he's got a Mi-35 and Mi-25. And Autumn is just capped off the command at Juliet. That is gonna hurt. And these Vidras just don't have any support. Then they're pushing against these Milans.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough push. Might just be Milan's, but they're still the ATGMs. In fact, the perfect ATGM for that situation.
Yep, and they have, and what makes them actually a decent unit now that I realize it is the 6 frontal armor. Because basically that means that most autocannons aren't going to be able to engage unless they're like within 1575 meters or less. And that gives a huge accuracy bonus to the Blondes at that point.
The Mi-35 push on Juliet, I'm kind of worried about that. There's a pretty expensive helicopter, pretty good asset, and putting it forward like that, where it's going to get hit by potentially like anti-air,
Or
dangerous for sure.
yeah, it looks like if they had pulled Bubble or Spaghetti had pulled some what do you call it? Some planes with medium range or sorry, short range missiles, infrared IRA. They might have been able to take out some of those helicopters, but all they had to go with Adam was guns. And some guy was able to call in some planes at the end there and kind of go for a bit of a air-to-air strike on some of those seed planes.
want to say Jade did an absolutely fantastic job penetrating into the city and Charlie here. Good force density, nice attack, taking out assets one at a time, and now set right up on Charlie in the little town there. So really, really good micro there to bring that in.
Oh yeah, Charlie. Yep, yep. And the recoilless rifles in this kind of setting are actually really decent because it gives them that nice strategic range, even if they don't hit hard, where they can harass like enemy units like they are with these Centurions. Probably not like one of the better units the Centurions is, but it's still a solid anti-infantry unit if it has optics up spot infantry.
All right, we've got our next surrender here. So we've got a fresh wave of units coming in. We'll see how those get used.
For sure, for sure.
I can definitely see the fatigue in terms of people have pulled a lot of units and they're afraid to commit now because there's a lot of stuff that's been lost at this point in the match.
So I just watched two MiG-29 9-12As, really good thermobaric bombers, just get trashed flying towards the Lafayette's. It's not like they didn't. I don't think they did. There's no way they could not have known that those Lafayette's are there. Like they had an idea. It's, ugh. I know some guy just surrendered, so that's not his play, but yeah, that's oof. Those were really good planes to just be trashed away. Alright, so we got Jade over here in Kilo, committing to a helicopter rush. Or, I wouldn't say helicopter rush, but a helicopter assault, more or less. And it's working out pretty good. And the Su-25K just got snapped by Super Hornets and Block 52Ds. Autumn trying their best to help provide some air support for against these Mi-25s, but Mi-25s just dumped their ammo and they're ready to head back home. A few were lost, but we shall see how many make it back home. Yep, that's looking like most of them now. There's something to be said about being happy with what you got and cutting your losses before you lose it all, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And in this case, I've kind of been watching the FOB. So for me, the lifetime of a helicopter is the lifetime of supply on it, essentially, how long it's usable
For
for.
sure.
And there's definitely some more juice in the FOB. So I'd like to see a bit more use out of those Mi-25s for sure.
So
Did you see those Danas are really doing some work? Whose Danas are those? Those are Opals or Jades, and those Danas are they're on target. They're actually doing some damage. They're hitting Spaghetti's troops and wearing down a defensive position fairly well.
they're able to fastly relocate. Even if they're not super accurate, they're generally accurate, to say the least. But hey, I guess it's the philosophy that if you got enough artillery, you can hit anywhere. Or just something like that, you know. You can do a lot of damage anywhere.
This is a really interesting one because force-wise, I still think that the Blue 4 team is in a stronger position in terms of the assets they have pulled on the field. However, a big thing is strategic command sniping and being able to maintain command. And the Red 4 team has held on to that, and they've held on and defended their commands, and so they've got that point lead, and that's going to matter. And it's a good play on their side. It forces the momentum on the other team. The other team has to make decisions, and the other team has to attack, which is often a lot harder to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the assault is never easy. Even when you have everything all together, mounting an assault is a difficult and sometimes necessary task. So it looks like we got a lot of artillery pouring in on Juliet, but I think all it's gonna do is poke the bear. those tanks are sitting there quite happy and content. But if they keep getting artillerized, it might force them out of their defense position, and they'll either have to commit to an assault or pull back. And given the thin defensive line of Red 4 right now, I don't think having them push is a smart idea. So it looks like Autumn's Green Jacket was able to make it across for most of the way until they were finally engaged by some Special Force infantry. So I think that's giving Autumn a lot more confidence to consider pushing at this point. Death of Wisconsin is pushing in some more M84As over by Kilo, but exposing their side armor and those K1s.
Yeah, those K1s are pretty beat up, but still something you've always got to be careful with those K1s. They're a really solid little tank.
Oh yeah, solid 95-point tank.
Ooh, I think this, yes, the very, very important move, and Jade's infantry really has done what they're supposed to do. So there's an attempt to pull out of the command into Charlie, and the Lesh Dakota, we're sitting right there and kill the command. It's a tank command, so it's a limited pull. Very solid placement, very good snipe.
Oh. Looks like the artillery is finally raining in on Autumn's Chieftain marked in over here, though, in Charlie.
I really like that Blue 4 has pulled in those units to get those points and stop the point bleed. Realizing how important that is and slowing that down so that they can really stay in the fight. It's very good play. They've even pulled the Chieftain up to Juliet to contest Juliet, so they're really contesting all points and really keeping that points lead thin.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we're seeing 2 platoons of K1s pushing out in Juliet. And there's a lot of tanks ready to back them up too. Boom! A recon helicopter was landed on the ground. The K1s are just storming. Can anything stop them? Commando Ultranology? Oh gosh. Somebody from Czechoslovakia is gonna stab me. Or no, Czech Republic these days. That's right. And Jade, ooh, tried landing his infantry to no avail. Oh.
Really nice job with Spaghetti keeping up the recon on the edge of the map, kind of closing off that normal helicopter route that shoots up to the spawn. I guess they've been bit once this match, so they're, how do you say, a little bit shy now of
Oh
that.
yeah.
And I like to see that.
Looks like Spaghetti just toasted 2 V-Whores with 2 platoons of K1s. That is a solid play. That, like, whatever damage those K1s took is gonna be worth, as long as they can fall back and get the repairs. But we got an MI-35 coming in. There's no anti-air for those K1s. Ooh, pushing without support is going to be rough, especially against something like MI-35.
No recon, no support, and no smoke.
Yep.
That's going to be painful.
Yep. Absolute death sentence for those K1s. It was a solid push. They were able to take the command out in Juliet. But again, it's like, how much do you want to commit if you don't have all your assets to be able to cover it? Not to say that there was much for anti-air, but it looks like Autumn's Stormer is a little late to the party. So we got a whole bunch of aircraft just flying around the Lafayette's by Foxtrot and by that bay and Gulf. This is just dabbing. They are just dabbing on it with the air superiority at this point, because I think they understand that with some guy gone, There was nothing left for them to contest the air anymore. They've got the air dominance, and they can do what they want with it. And kind of looking at Red 4, there isn't a lot of anti-air. At least nothing that's armed. All the Nevamits are out of ammo. Goodness, there is nothing for anti-air on all of Red 4. Oh,
Yeah, there's literally no anti-air right now.
wait, I see two spat focus finally coming in. That's all their anti-air at this very moment, and they're radar based.
Pushing up some attack helicopters with armor can be very, very effective, and especially in situations like this where there really isn't a hard counter on the other side. It's not a bad idea. Blue 4 typically has a little bit of weaker helicopters. They don't get the Mi-24Ds, but still, they do get the AH-1S, and they are in the field. So I'm wondering if it's a supply issue where maybe the fob's running a bit low, so they're not using them.
Yeah, and with bubble baths dropping out, it looks like they didn't. If they had any Munas, they did not pull them in. So whatever they had went with them when they disconnected. Really unfortunate.
I have to say, for having a disconnect like that, they've really held their front together. They haven't got super overwhelmed by the looks of it, of the micro on it. No, they've done a really nice job just holding the line, holding what they've taken.
Oh yeah, and we got a Harrier GR7 flying in from over Alpha. It looks like Spaghetti's going in for the bombing position, right where their command is. Is nah. Come on, Autumn. Come on. Hit the flare. Wait, they're gonna use artillery? The K9 Thunders? I mean,
Yeah, they must have it spotted. They know where it is, so they're trying to get
yeah,
it.
technically Blue Fort doesn't know how much anti-air there is, but there's none. Absolutely none.
Kind of looking over the Blue 4 team, they do have an anti-air net up. They're doing a nice job pushing some infantry forward. I like to see personally like combined infantry and armored assaults just to make sure that there's a little bit more to back up the armor when it takes a position.
Mhm.
But they've definitely put themselves in a very nice position this match, and it's very good play. Very, very solid. Nice recon, nice anti-air, nice infantry, nice tanks, nice air. It's all pretty good.
Looks like the GR7 run came in and hit the point after the commands have already evac'd. And there's two commands behind Gulf that are no longer in, but they've capped the other side with a BVP 1K. So it's kind of like playing Last Villager, but yeah, unless there's any helicopter assets that Spaghetti or Autumn can bring in, or even amphibious assets, they can't really make use of Foxtrot anymore. But I mean, it's good to have it because it denies it to the other team. But at the same time, in token, um, if you don't have a way to capitalize it without your Marine player, um, it can be rough.
I
Oh,
hate to say it, I think that was probably a very decisive factor in this fight is the loss of the Marine player, just shutting down that ability to continually reinforce Foxtrot
big,
and really keep the fight there.
yeah,
Um, and that's really too bad. It's something you never want to see in a match, and um, yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes people disconnect, but it would have been nice to see the full match go through with all the players. So
yeah. The Bubble did tell us ahead of time that they were having internet connection issues, but they wanted to go through with the fight anyways. So it is what it is. That's the sad part of it. But all things considered, this is still rolling out to be a really good fight. We are seeing Bubble and we're seeing Spaghetti and Autumn having a +2 bleed on the other team, and they're starting to catch up on points.
one thing I really, really like on what's going on around Kilo right now is Jade's moved forward a lot of infantry. And so that infantry is kind of figured out, okay, there's nothing in these woods here. And they've also stacked up a bunch of Igmans back at Lima. And so now that they've secured that area, they can actually push forward and move their tanks into fighting in the open ground. So a very good way of just using some infantry to do light recon and make sure there's a safe corridor and a safe road for them to push forward to get into the fight.
For sure. And there's nothing wrong with medium optics. Like, I understand, like, you don't want to use medium optics for like spying over a lot of long ground, but where it's like hedgerow to hedgerow like this, medium optics is good enough. And the Donnas have really been trying to punish these K263s. Yep.
I do like to see those prams still in the fight. So those are the prams I pointed out probably 20 minutes ago, and they were pulled back, and they're still in the fight. They're still dropping shells and still doing their jobs. And so when something goes wrong, it's pull back what you can, regroup, rebuild, and try again. And I really like to see that. Death to Wisconsin's done a fantastic job keeping those things shooting and keeping them in the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's what I was looking for. Spaghetti now has pulled H1S, 5 of them, so quite a few. And I think at this point it's more of a counter on Kilo, probably from lack of other assets. And double stacked, which will make you a little bit upset.
Yes, yes. For for many things. For all the people watching this. Don't do this. Do not double stack your helicopters like this. I will artillerize it. But,
One thing to note is there is no anti-air net in the area,
yeah,
so there isn't anything to punish the mistake, and it is a mistake.
it is a mistake.
Um, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be keeping an eye on it. I want to see if we get splash damage going over onto both units at once.
You know what I think it is sometimes in micro decks? People take like one card of anti-air, and sometimes it's enough, but sometimes it's really, really not. And that's where I think like having a support player or a motorized player with like a lot who's able to bring like a bunch of man pads, something like that, is a really useful asset and being able to bring like just enough spam anti-air. Um, but here we go. Looks like those AH1Ss are gonna commit to something with no recon.
I just want to point out the match is almost neck and neck right now. We're 10 minutes out, and it's 549 to 520. This is an extremely close match, extremely well fought by both teams, extremely fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I have to say in terms
You
of
know,
like closeness, this is closer than any match I think in the last tournament.
absolutely. This is one of the closest matches I think I've ever seen, actually. So it's a very solid fight and awesome for both teams. I'm stoked. This is sweet.
Oh yeah, what a way to open up the tournament. A lot of expectations to live up to. Oh, here we go.
Once
The
again,
artillery is coming in. The helicopters are close to the ground, and they are getting hit.
that
Oh,
is very, very unfortunate.
oh, talk about an omen.
Jade has done an absolutely awesome job just bringing in those units, slowly investing the area, slowly moving forward the infantry so that tanks are safe as they move in. I think Kilo's going to get taken in a second here, and it will be earned, very, very well earned.
And the spat focus are finally coming in too. So Death of
Let's
Wisconsin
go.
isn't completely naked without anti-air finally, but we shall see. So we got the Super Hornets taking some damage from this focus and the Neva Mitt finally. So they finally got that thing rearmed. And that is nice. That is going to be nice for them. It means that Spaghetti just can't keep doing combat air patrol. Sorry, go ahead.
The other big fight that I'm watching develop is over on Juliet. They've been pushing it with infantry for a while, and it's trying to get enough infantry forward into Juliet that the tanks can move freely for Red 4. And I'll be interested to see what else they can pull forward to really do that. Because there's a good defensive wall of tanks there, and so they need something to break that up, something to spot them, and something to hit them with. And it'll be very hard to push that without having that kind of critical density of mixed assets. All right, I think they've actually spotted the command on Kilo. The chieftain's trying to take artillery right now, and so that this could be the critical moment where if they lose that command, it gives a point bleed, and that could be. I'll be watching that very, very carefully to see if they actually can snipe that.
That's
They
true.
know where it is and they're shooting it.
Or at least I think they know where it is. But here we are. We've got 2 platoons K1s and more KF 4050s. These are the, yep, these are the box, I believe, with the, yep, grenade launcher on them, the M2 Browning. K1s are going to come in and just wipe the floor with those ignites. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. Those very much did their job. Now they're pushing into a forest, so they're pushing into rocket range, infantry rocket range, and I think they're going to start taking casualties from this.
Yep. It looks like the Igmans are that were drawn into the forest. We're kind of waiting for this moment when the K1s expose their side. And maybe it'll be just enough to give the Igmans the push they need. Ooh, 2 side shots. 3 side
Three
shots.
side shots.
Oh, side shot city. Holy shit. Detract with exposing your side? No, say it. It's oh, another side shot. Oh, 4 side shots at least. Then I'm counting 5 dead K1s. They came in with 2 platoons. They're down to 3 tanks. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. But the K1s are
Really,
just gonna keep pushing.
really interesting is this match is actually being decided because a +1 point bleed, and it's not because things are being captured fully, but because things are being contested. Um, and that's very close. That's a very hang on by your nails close match.
Oh yeah. Spaghetti really desperate to try to get a push into Lima. Really desperate.
With 6 minutes, they definitely know that they have to stop the point bleed. They have to switch things around, and they are really trying to knock out a command to really stabilize a point. And the Red 4 team, Death of Wisconsin and Jade, have done a fantastic job setting up a defensive line there off Kilo, and just to hold them there.
Even though like the T55s usually aren't much, but when you get a side shot, it doesn't really matter how good the tank is. It's gonna hurt. And that's one of the amazing things about being able to play as like motorized or something and get away with this kind of cheese.
I will say something else that's happened that's really interesting is Jade has kept just a call Proletary and Light Pagoda over in Charlie, and they've been there for like 50 minutes. Been there for a long time. And every once in a while, you'll see a ping, and the ping will be from Autumn usually saying there's still something here. And so it's really tied up their ability to engage on Shitfight Mountain because they know there's something behind them, and so they can fight elsewhere, but they can't fight on Shitfight Mountain. And so it really forces into kind of a funnel over on that the other side by Kilo.
Yeah. So we're seeing some Block 52s supporting, coming in to fly in and supports these AH-1Ss. Oh, Siege Strike up inbound. Second Siege Missile out. Boom! Spat Focus out. 3 Spat Focus out. Good run by Spaghetti. What a play. And Bubble. Oh, sorry, not Bubble, but whoever took control of Bubble's plane.
I am very afraid for this Nevamit. The Nevamit has come very far forward to engage.
Boom!
And
3 helicopters
doesn't have a
down.
missile count.
Boom! 3 helicopters out again. Boom! Nevamit is cleaning house.
And now it's being cleaned though, so
Yep. It just took out at least 6 helicopters before finally getting out. I'd say that's pretty good performance, even by a card-by-card ratio. Just because of the sheer AG blast size of those missiles, those Nevamit packs. 9 AG is big enough to damage everything near that helicopter that is unfortunate enough to be just flying next to it. Like a helicopter fall.
this match is ridiculously close. We're back to a +1 for the Blue 4 team. And it's 600 to 531. 3 minutes left. This has really come down to right to the end. This is a cliffhanger. Good match.
Oh yeah, this is what we want right here.
And Spaghetti has pulled an attack. Oh my goodness, this is great. This is a last minute, last ditch infantry attack dropping onto Gulf right now.
Onto Gulf, onto Gulf. Oh, yep, yep. Seeing all these helicopters landed finally.
The Lafayette's are back in the fight. The Lafayette's are firing.
Yep. The SEALs are really trying. Unfortunately, they were not landed inside the towns to allow them to do some work and hop from city block to city block.
I also want to point out the Fusiliers and the Warrior Milans just outside a hotel coming in on Jade's command there. They've done a very good job doing some penetration fighting, getting some units through where there's holes in the line. And, if it was another 10 minutes, 20 minutes, this is a very, very up in the air match.
Yeah.
This has been a very good
And I
one.
just watched the Lafayette's that Bubble brought in earlier take out two Neva Mitts that were casually rolling up from spawn over here. That's very sad. Very sad to see. That's a screenshot worthy thing right there. All right. Um, let's see. So we got some more of the fight happening between Lima and Kilo.
There's a very good fight over at Lima Kilo. There's a V-Horror fighting about 8 Centurion AVIs.
And this is
What's going on?
what is going on. It's AoE rounds, so they are not heat. They pack a really big punch, but they don't have any like AP power. It's very sad. Very sad for Autumn. And the padded branch are going to come in, but those turns might have something to say about the infantry at least. Maybe not so much about the tank, but maybe the infantry. We shall see.
Boom!
Yep, I just watched 19 padded branch go down to 11.
I will say the Blue 14, Spaghetti, and Autumn have done an absolutely fantastic job reinvesting their defense at Kilo. They're trying to get the command, they're trying to push through and knock out that to get the point lead reversed, but
Oh,
they've done a really good job rebuilding the defense system.
and it looks like Blue 4 just took out the command in hotel. But with 1 minute left on the
Uh,
clock, will it be enough?
and they've actually won the fight at Gulf. They've got their SEALs invested right in the middle of Gulf, but it's just getting them out to actually engage other things and kill the last commands.
There might even be room to get the seals across the open like field right there without being seen because of the buildings are obstructing. But they found the fob and they're starting to shell it. Not that there's much point at the last minute, but hey, why not for spite, right?
I don't think this will be one of the closest games I think we'll ever see. Right now, I think by the end, we're going to be less than 20 points difference between the teams.
Oh, easily. Seven, six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
19 points difference. That's it.
Yep, the game was so close. The game itself called it a draw. That that
Given,
but that 19 points difference is 19 points difference.
I have to say, like as I go into the next matches, I'm going to be worried about both of these teams. I'm going to be concerned about what they both can do. I'm nervous to play in a match where Bubble Bath is through the whole match. You know,
Mhm.
this was an incredibly close match, incredibly well fought by both teams, and you know, right down to the end, very much a cliffhanger. Like 19 points differences.
And there's something to say about the level difference. There is a significant level difference here. To put it in contrast, the levels of Spaghetti, Bubble, and Autumn are all under 12. Jade is level 19. Death of Wisconsin's level 30 or 32, and some guy is level 32. Putting all that together, Jade has more games in War Game than the other team combined, and the other team combined came really close to winning. If I If I was on Red 4, I'd be shook. I mean that. I'd be shook.
I I have to give it to both teams. They fought it excellent fight. I wish we wouldn't have the disconnects. And either way, I want to see a rematch. I want to see them come back together for a grudge match and really duke it out. And I'm looking forward to playing both teams. Really dynamic map with a lot of counterattacks and a lot of building up assets. Really nice attacks of all different kinds. We had smoke attacks. We had just quick mechanized push attacks. Combined arms attacks.
And I thought it was really, really something that Bubble was able to take a Lafayette, get it all the way to the other side of the spawn without any hostile enemy anti-ship fire. I think Red 4 really underestimated the Marine initiative from Blue 4, and it almost cost them the match. It really did. Uh,
Absolutely.
if they
I, I,
if they would if Blue 4 would have called in reinforcements to go towards Sheridan early off and kill that +2 lead, that would have been the game right there. Just to send it back, send call Cap Beator, send those Marine units out to Shitfight Mountain on the rear side where they won't be expecting it, and that would have been a power play right there. But that's just me
uh,
looking in hindsight.
at the point that bubble disconnected, that was just sort of well, just into the investment, just into actually getting lines set up and defenses set up, anti-air defenses set up on that marine landing.
Hmm.
And with another little bit of time on that marine landing, that would have been a very serious threat to pushing the main land corridor, main air corridor on Red Forest team. So I mean, they're, they're very very lucky and fortunate to have had the disconnect, as unfortunate as it is.
Yeah.
They won it, they earned it. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but I want to see a rematch and I want to see them fight it out again. And I'm looking forward to fighting both teams. I think it's been a fantastic match. Really exciting way to start the tournament. And yeah, it's sweet. So thank you very much for watching with me.
Yeah.
I am super excited now. That's
Big
amazing.
same.
Good match. 19
A
points.
lot, a lot to look for, a lot to live up for all the fights to come. All right,
I just hope I can do a few matches that are good too.
right? I'll be looking forward to it. All right, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next video. You have a good one.